In today's episode, we're going to be talking and I'm going to be showing you on how I do my super elevation. Let's head over for why we're here. We're here on level 1 up at the southern end. This is pretty much the wide sweeping curve that heads off to the helix. This is the first time I'm actually using the super elevation technique. And I mean, so far I'm pretty impressed. So what I might do is just sort of take you through. So I've already got the cork laid here. Probably wondering what these two strips are. I just wanted a bit of a bit of support as I get off this 1.5 back onto the felt. So what I've sort of done, because this is 1.5 on the cork, these strips here are 1 mil. And then obviously it'll lead back into the standard track that's just on the felt there. So the transition should be that much smoother. And this is pretty much what I've done on this section here. I'm not sure whether you can see it, but I've got the strips under here. So what I sort of normally do is sort of glue in this section, and then glue in this section. Obviously you can see here there's a bit of flex. Obviously that's not touching underneath. Okay, so as far as what I use for the super elevation, I sort of reached out to Facebook on some of the groups that I'm on, and I was sort of asking around on what sort of heights most people use and what would be ideal for the HO scale. Predominantly most replies came back and said it should be really between, I guess, the 1 mil and 1.25 mil, because originally I was going to use I guess this cork, which is 1.5 on the edge, but they felt that it might have been too big for, I guess, the HO scale. So I made a decision, and basically I've sort of gone out and gotten these strips here. They're an Evergreen Scale Models product. The item number is 146, and basically it's 1 mil by 3.2 mil. So what I sort of do is basically, I don't actually use a whole strip. What I do is I actually cut it up into about 15-20 mil lengths, and then I sort of space them out. That sort of allows, supports the track enough. As you can see here, it supports quite well. It's about, 15 mil in between each section of plastic strip. I've sort of started my super elevation just as it's hitting the curve. So what I'll do, I'll go ahead, I'll get these strips cut up, and then I guess my first step is, once I've got these cut, I'll get these glued onto the cork in position, ready for the track preparation. So what I'll normally do is sort of mark roughly where I'm going to make a start. And what I'm going to do is just sort of put dabs of glue along the way, and I'm just going to take these strips and start putting it onto the cork. Because I've already prepared this, my cork at the moment is probably 2 to 3 mil larger on each side of the track. So it sort of gives me an idea where to position these. So if I sort of do it 2 mil in from the edge, that's pretty much going to get me on the edge of the ties of my track without any issue. And I just use standard PVA wood glue, nothing special there. It's probably a good idea when you're doing this, it gets a little bit messy. Not so much messy with the glue, but you get glue on your fingers, so you're probably best to sort of grab a towel, and I've got one here handy, just to rub your fingers every now and then, otherwise it sort of sticks to your fingers and it's going to annoy the crap out of you. Because PVA glue takes a little while to set, which is quite good because it gives you a bit of time. Once you go around, you can always come back. If you don't quite think you've had it aligned enough against the edge of the cork or whatever road bed you're using, you can come back and adjust it. Now, this is by no means the way to do it. This is just my way. You'll probably notice that there's lots of YouTube videos out there on how-tos. Look, my technique may not suit everyone, but hopefully it'll give you a bit of an idea on how to move forward with it. And obviously, you can go and do your own research and sort of see if there's any other methods that suits you better. I'm just hoping that this sort of gives you bit of an idea what to take away with you. And I mean, some of you might be asking, why am I bothering cutting it up? Why don't I just take the long strip and lay it? I can, but these ones, I guess, it's just going to be a fair bit of mucking around trying to keep it in place as I glue it down. I just found it easier just to cut it in these length strips, have a little gap in between and just sort of plot along that way, gluing it down. I'm not going to take you through the preparation of the track. I'm going to get this in place so I can mark out where I need my dropper wires. And I'm sort of looking at my other track next to it, and I've got the feeders here. Where possible, I like to get them aligned in parallel across the bench work. It just makes connecting them and getting them to the DCC bus just that whole lot more easier. And so once I get it to the bench work, which I won't take you to, as I said, check out those earlier videos, I'll go away and just get these soldered, ready to go. Okay, I'm back with the track. As you can see here, I've sort of got my dropper wires. What I'm going to do now is put this track back on, just get it lined up to this spot down here. Then I'm going to get my trusty felt pen, mark the holes, and I'll get them drilled. I'm going to glue, I guess, some of the tyres down at this end. Then I'm going to put some glue along these strips at this end of the strips here, and then same as this area here. But then with the rest of the cork, what I'm going to do, where each of those plastic bits are, I will just put a dab of glue on each of those plastic bits, and then down this line, 2 mil in, I'll put a line of glue. That should be enough on down the end. I'll put a strip here. I'll also put a strip here as well. And then with each of these things, each of these plastic bits, I'm just going to put a line of glue on that. Get it in place so I can start to put the weights on and let it set. I use these pins to help just keep the track in place around the curves while I sort of get it all lined up and then put the weights on. And as I say, with the PVA glue, it does take a little while to set, so you know, you've got plenty of time to sort of get things aligned and in place right, and then get the weights on. Part of the transition weighted down on those plastic strips, and then another one at this end on the cork. And then basically I'll just put the weights as I go around. So that's the first bit of track on the second mains line that I've got here. And I'll pretty much continue up and around. Once I'm done there, we'll be back, and then hopefully I can get a little bit of power connected. But anyway, I'll get this completed and then I'll be back to show you.